Right. That's close.
Hey, this is Sports Slaw with Lomas Brown, the pro.
And Deb Schneider, I'm the prof. And together, we're the pro and the prof. Okay.
No, hello.
I know. Well, Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year. Happy 2022. Yes.
Yeah. Lots of stuff is happening already.
I know.
We're 13 days in, and I'm almost wishing for 2021 back again.
I know, man. My goodness, I know. It's just time is just moving. It didn't stop it for anyone these days, and there's so much going on. Every time you turn around, there's just something between nature and viruses and just everything.
And the court cases, you name it, we got it.
Yes.
We got it going on. So today we're going with College Week. We're wearing our college gear.
Got my gaiters on. Oh, right over there.
I got my Stanford on. Yeah. And we're going to get to talk to Christian Fitzpatrick, who went from Louisville and now is at Michigan State, which is near and dear to my heart since I teach up there.
Yeah. Yeah, I got y'all green and white going on.
Yeah, go green.
Yes. Yeah, go white. All right.
And Christian's dad, Greg, and just chat with him. His brother Dez can't be with us today, but we can get all kinds of back information on him anyways. Have some fun with that. So, how have you been, Lomas?
I'm good. I'm good. Everything was good. I mean, they were good. I was traveling most of the holidays. My commitments with the Lions. So they play the game the day after Christmas, and they play the game on the 2nd of January. So I had to travel out on those particular holidays. But it was good, and I think it was a successful season, even though they only won 3 games. Yeah, I forgot the last one. So 3 games, but I just think a lot of guys got a lot of valuable experience, and, hopefully they help towards the future, help those guys to grow, and hopefully the chemistry can keep just getting better and better.
Mm-hmm. What do you think about Campbell and the play calling?
I mean, I was pleasantly surprised with how things turned out with that. I think that the combination of Coach Campbell and Ben Johnson, who's the tight ends coach, those two guys really coming together. I think what they did was they decided to stick to the strength of the Lions, which is running the ball, or was running the ball, because of the great offensive line that they put together. And because of the backs, DeAndre Swift and some of the backs that they had acquired, that would be the strong point of the offense. As the year went on, the passing game really caught up and was a pleasant surprise to end the season. So, again, I think they got some great things once they could get healthy. And that's been a key word with not just the Lions, but every team in the NFL. The word health has been at the front foremost of every conversation you have about anything professionally or college or anything dealing with sports, because of not only the COVID, but just staying healthy, playing the sports that we play. So it's just been a lot of things going on, a lot of different dynamics that have been kind of clashing together.
Yep. And we are at to 17 games, which, as we've talked in the past, is while it doesn't seem like a lot for the average fan, it's a huge change. It's definitely a huge change for the players.
It's a big change. Yeah. And they'll be shocked at how much just adding that one game, how much that's going to take off some players' careers, because of just adding the one game. It's the totality of the hits and of the blocks and the pains and the aches that take their point on you as a professional football player. So, all that accumulation of hits, it really takes a toll on you.
Yep. And it is a very, very physical game. So let's get to Greg and Christian. And hey, Greg. Hey, Christian.
Hey. Lomas, Happy New Year.
Same to you. Happy New Year, man. Got like Christian on here. What's up, Christian? How you doing?
I've been doing good. How are you?
Good. So yeah, man, we're glad you guys are joining us. And you kind of heard a little bit of what we were talking about. And just to start off, man, just with the health, I think that should be the first question anybody asks when they have guests on there. How are you? How are you feeling? Everybody's safe. Everybody's good.
Oh yeah, definitely in our family. Everyone's vaccinated. Actually, I just got my booster today. So
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So everyone in our family is healthy. I've gotten COVID a couple of times. My fiance doesn't catch it, even though she's in the house with me. So I'm walking around the house sick, and she's walking around like nothing's going on. But I guess Christian hasn't had any real bouts with COVID, and actually Dez missed the game because of COVID. Sure did. Yeah, he missed a few days because of COVID. But other than that, we're pretty good.
That's good to hear. And Christian, you're staying safe?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I actually just got my booster shot yesterday, so I'm definitely all good to go. They're actually requiring us to get booster shots to come back to MSU.
Yeah.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, I saw that email.
Yep. Yeah. MSU, this is interesting. I'm teaching at MSU, and they are requiring the vaccinations, the booster shots to come to be on campus. And we're also remote for the entire month of January.
Oh, wow. So they're being very proactive.
They are working very, very hard to make sure that we get through this surge before we start back at school in person.
Yeah. And the NFL has been up and down, just like you. I mean, I'm sure, Lomas, the protocols have been in place, but it still hasn't stopped, key players from being out on COVID, getting sick, showing symptoms, spreading it around facilities. And, of course, you guys know Dez is with the Titans. And I think they've had, speaking of health, they've had, I think, 80 some odd players on their 53-man roster throughout the year. Yeah. So Coach Vrabel and the staff there have been doing a ton of juggling when it comes to keeping that team healthy. And I'm just kind of surprised that they did as well as they did with all the issues they've had with injuries, COVID, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, that's kind of, you kind of put me on track with the question I wanted to ask Christian is, I know since Coach Tucker has gotten the MSU, you guys are real heavy in the transfer portal. How has that been? Because you guys had a great year this year. How has it been to get that chemistry together with different guys coming through the transfer portal? You guys having to get to know these guys, and then also dealing with COVID and all the restrictions you guys had too.
Yeah, I actually feel like just within the transfer portal, it's actually been a smooth transition for the guys coming in because of just like the culture that's been established there at MSU, and just Coach Tucker coming in and just making sure that we stay locked in and knowing like this is how we do things there and everything like that. That like he's really getting good guys like as well as players in the transfer portal. So like nobody's coming in with too big of an ego or like and nobody's coming in and acting like they better than anybody else. So like when you get a good group of guys together, it's real easy for us to like get along and like make new connections. Everything goes smooth. Like my transition's been smooth so far. Like I have a lot of friends on the team, never been in any conflicts. Like I love it at MSU for sure.
Yeah, and you just transferred from Louisville to MSU, went through the whole transfer portal process. It's great to hear that it was very, very smooth. What convinced you to come to MSU?
Yeah, just hearing things and like hearing things about like what they got going on at State, because I've always loved State. Like I'm from Michigan, so like obviously like the two big schools, Michigan and Michigan State. So like if you get a chance to go to one of those schools, a lot of times you might want to like really consider it. So once I heard, like I got back in the portal, once I heard that Tuck was doing some real good things at MSU and he wanted ballers, I decided to like really look into that.
Well, we're excited to have you.
Yeah. Greg, it's going on 2 years, and I haven't been able. I do my big man camps, and I know you work with receivers and work with guys like that. So I mean, how has that been for you? Because for me, like I say, I hadn't put on the camp in 2 years. I want to do it this year. Thinking about it, but I just got to see how this Omicron and how that's going to go with that. What are you thinking about, and what you think people like us are doing now?
Yeah, that's interesting you said that, because I took a year off, right? Like, I didn't do anything last year, and I'm constantly getting inbox, about, hey, coach, when you gonna come out of retirement and put on some more camps, and I've worked with, of course, Christian and Desmond, and there's a couple other guys that I've worked with who are in the pros now, like KJ Osborne for Minnesota, wide receivers doing real well. This is his second year being in the league, and he's stepped up and been making a ton of plays. So for me, I haven't worked with the high school kids as much. I plan on bringing, a handful of college and NFL guys together, this summer, if in fact COVID doesn't take over again, right? And start making it difficult, because it's really tough finding facilities and, and trying to get a consistent rhythm with having a camp every week or twice a month or something like that. So I've kind of stepped back a little.
Yeah.
So, since both of you run camps, and you've stepped back, Greg, and Lomas, you haven't run a camp for a couple of years, what do you think is going to be the effect on the kids? And Christian, this is probably a question for you. What if you didn't have the opportunity to practice and to train as much as you did?
Right. I believe that's why I believe that kids down south, they're blessed, because they get good weather all year round. Like up here, like it's probably 9 times out of 10 it's cold. It's too cold to work outside. You got to get a facility. You got to rent a spot out and everything like that. So I feel like it's gonna really affect more the kids up north than down south, because you outside. Like, I think the COVID restrictions are different when you're outside. Like, you're in open air and everything like that, and you and your friends can just go outside and set up a couple cones and y'all can get right. But up here, like, it's real more structured, and you got to really, really work your way around everything. And with COVID, it's kind of hard to do all that right now.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, you're right about that. And, with everything up with the restriction and, it's not enough tests, it's not, it's the testing lines are too long. Even the at-home tests, you can't get it. So it's really not accessible like it needs to be too, when you're trying about gathering up 100 kids or so. How many you're trying to gather up for a camp and everything. So it's still a lot of hurdles that have to be cleared before, like I say, before we can even consider putting on the camp, even with, like you're saying, indoor facilities where they need to be at. So it's just a lot of things when you talk about doing them now.
Yeah, and kind of piggybacking off of that thought, Lomas, there's people like for instance, you don't do camps for a living, right? Neither do I. I don't do camps for a living. But a lot of the guys and a lot of the programs out there, like a Rising Stars or Sound Mind, Sound Body, right? A lot of those guys, this is what they do to make their living. So a lot of those facilities are booked really early, right? Because most of them do a combination of soccer and football. Most of them are, filled with soccer. So those dates for getting some of those facilities, indoor facilities for football, it's kind of tough to get them unless you commit long term and commit for an entire, winter program or something like that. So, for me, taking on the liability of doing things indoors, checking to find out if people have been vaccinated or not. It's just a heavy lift for someone who's just out there doing it to help kids, right? Yeah. So for me, it's just like, I'll get my boys and a couple kids together, but until this COVID thing kind of eases up, I won't get into doing any real numbers. As much as I like to help the kids, you get inboxes and messages on social media. Hey, coach, when you going to coach again? Or, hey, I got a few kids for you. It's kind of tough, especially in the winter.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right about that. So Christian, are you excited about the NIL, the name, image, likeness? You got any prospects? You putting anything out there in the air that we need to just publicize so we can get
here's
you
your
paid off
opportunity.
of it?
Yeah, I'm actually very excited for the NIL, but my dad likes to keep my head just focused on the main thing, keep the main thing, and I let him handle
like
things
that.
like that. So right now I'm just focused on making my stamp on the field, and I know that NIL money gonna come with it, so I'm not even tripping right now about it.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. So Greg, any secrets out there?
No, look, I told him when he asked me about NIL, I said, look, you're in no position to negotiate yet. Once we start making plays, once you start getting in that end zone, then then you'll have an opportunity. Because a couple people have like kind of pulled at his coattails, and I just told him, I said, look, Chris, I said, you haven't had any significant time on the field yet. I said, and it's coming. And companies will want to lock you up early and get you into a 2-3 year deal, before you become a significant player and you have some leverage, right, to negotiate. So let's just focus on football, focus on your grades. That kind of stuff comes with success. And you're a football player first, right? So, focus on football, focus on helping your team, focus on figuring out, what Coach Tucker expects, from each and every one of his players and what your role is. And once you carve out your role and start making plays, you won't have to look for NIL. They'll come to you.
Yeah, that's the truth. Yeah. Man, it's a whole different world, ain't it? It's like, man, but it's about time. They should have been able to do this, able to capitalize off their name, image, and likeness. I mean, this is so late.
Yeah, it's extremely late. And a lot of people are talking about like how it may swing the pendulum. And I think it may be the great equalizer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now you won't have every kid, wanting to go to Alabama or go to Georgia or go to Clemson. A lot of these programs are going to, you're going to get people in the alumni and the boosters who are going to step up at some of these places, right? And dedicate a couple $1 million for NIL that may help you get that recruiting class that you need. Like remember a handful of years ago, it was Laquan Treadwell and some other kids who were all 4- and 5-star players and some of the top players in the country, and they all got together and went to what was it, Ole Miss?
Ole Miss, yeah.
Yeah, remember Ole Miss had that 2 or 3 year run.
Yes.
And I think they got in the playoff, or I don't know if the playoffs were. I don't know if the existing bowl structure was there yet, but they were one of the top teams in the country for a few years. And we don't know what happened behind the scenes to make that happen, right?
Yeah.
But now it'll all be above board.
Yeah.
Right? And it may create some more parity in college football.
Yeah.
I think it's going to encourage dudes to stay as well, like, because sometimes a main factor in leaving for the league early is like, I need to get some money for my family. So like possibly encourage dudes to stay, that extra year or whatever, because they may be profiting a little bit while they're in college.
Yeah.
Right. No. The other thing with name, image, likeness is it's not only football. And I think it needs to be said that a lot of people who are making good on NIL actually have really great social media presence. And it's not just football and it's not just men's sports. So it's been something that's been out there for a long time. And then I'm going to go a little legal on you guys here because I can. But the National Labor Relations Board, the general counsel, just came out with an opinion that seems to say that athletes are actually employees of the universities. If that happens, we're talking true pay to play.
Right.
That's another piece of this puzzle that's building up, which is going to completely change collegiate sports.
Oh, wow.
And we all know, especially for the big money makers, and it doesn't just, like you said, doesn't just apply to football and basketball. It can apply to women's volleyball. Like a school like the University of Louisville, like all their sports are pretty good. both men's
Yeah.
and women's.
Yeah.
Like I'm talking swimming, baseball, volleyball, softball. Like that's one of the schools that have a ton of good sports programs, and they generate, not just football and basketball. Of course, they're the top money generators, but those other sports generate, revenue at those schools. And a lot of those players, like you said, that have huge social media presences, right?
Right.
And that's where a lot of those NIL deals are going to come from.
Right. And it's not even necessarily the NIL deal where somebody's paying you. Sometimes, and Christian, you probably are going to see some of this on the teams where it's you have a social media presence. So you're able to get out there and maybe you're making a little money off of that presence, as opposed to, Nike coming in and saying, hey, I want to lock you up for a couple of years.
Yeah, like an influencer.
An influencer,
Yeah,
exactly,
yeah.
exactly. And some of the best ones are relatively unknown players.
Oh, for
They're
sure.
They're just able to do it now. So I'm really excited, and Christian, I'm really excited for you. Lomas and your dad kind of missed the boat on this one, but I'm really excited for you because there's going to be so much opportunity beyond what anybody up until this point. I mean, the NCAA has been in existence since 1906, and it's 2021 when we see this change. And this is year one. Year one, guys.
Yeah.
And it's all going to balance out. I mean, you listen to sports radio, and everyone has their opinion, about what they think it's doing to college sports. But college sports is just like everything else. It's going to evolve. Right?
Yes.
Everything evolves. I don't care what it is. It all evolves, right? And this NIL thing, it'll piss a couple people off. You'll hear a couple coaches who may have lost a player, and the general public doesn't know why, but he knows why, right? He knows that another school came and they offered a bigger NIL deal, right? And he'll complain publicly. But at the end of the day, we're going to look up 5 years. And like you said, Deb, there'll be other changes that are going to happen that are going to be, in the interest of the players, because I firmly believe that players are, to a huge extent, employees of the university because they generate so much revenue and their time is restricted. What they study, in school is to a certain extent kind of guided and kind of restricted. They slow some players' academic progress down just to make sure that they can use up all their eligibility because they're managing their roster and they're staggering out players. This kid has 2 more years left, but he's on schedule to graduate. Let's slow his classes down and, just make sure he's eligible so we can keep him here 2 more years. That kind of stuff goes on also.
Yeah.
And,
so
there's another piece of that in that, and I think, Christian, what's your normal day like from an employer-employee standpoint?
Right.
How much free time do you really have? I'm sorry, Greg, if I interrupted you.
No, go right ahead.
Because I think that's a big piece of. Is your free time your free time?
Yeah, obviously there's times where it ramps up and times when it slows down. Like during the season, most likely you don't have a lot of free time because once you go to practice and you get everything done that you have to do at practice, you go straight to a tutor, and then probably right after that you have meetings again. So a lot of that time is definitely eaten up during the season. Now the off season we might have a little more time because MSU we practice in the mornings. So that's something I like about this program for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of that, how often, Christian, how often do you and Dez talk? Have y'all been talking much during the season? I mean, talking about who's making the best play, who's doing this. I mean, what kind of banter goes back and forth between you two?
Yeah, me and Dez definitely talk. We talk every day for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. And we just always something a lot of times we're not even talking about football, but when it is, it's definitely encouraging each other and just keeping our heads straight. Like him and my dad, they definitely keep my head straight just through all the the roadblocks that we come across of, and same goes for my brother too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah,
Man, they got a tough one. Where are they this weekend? No, they off. They got the number one. Yeah, so he chills for the weekend, huh?
Yeah. The cool thing that's going on, and I don't believe it existed when you played, but when you get that bye week, they still get a check.
Yeah, no, that sure did.
That sure
did. Yeah, man, that sure didn't exist. I wish it would have back then and stuff.
Yeah, I think they get I think they get the winning team's check. I think that's like their reward. Yeah, that's their reward for getting that number one seed.
That's all right though. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. They still get a check.
Yeah, because a lot of times the player actually ends up losing money during the playoffs. You know, I don't know how much the money is now, but I know back then we used to actually lose money. You know, because some guys' game checks would be bigger than what they were getting for the playoffs and everything. So
right.
You know,
so everybody else's check stop and everybody in the playoffs keep getting the check.
Yeah, they keep getting the check. Yeah. So that was the good part about it. That was the great part about it. Yeah.
So they're off, and the road to the Super Bowl in the AFC goes through Nashville.
Yeah.
So they only have to win 2.
Yeah.
That's
a big difference there. That just having to win 2 of them. Yeah, that's a big difference. And you get
a bye and you're at home. That's huge. I was talking to him, I think yesterday, and I told him, I said, look, you know, you went through a lot of adversity, you know, your first year in the league. You know, there's 4th round draft choice, you know, there's public knowledge that they traded away a few picks to move up to get him. Mm-hmm. And, and he went into camp, and, and you could probably appreciate this, Lomas, but, you know, when he went into camp, you know, he had a certain idea of what he expected, right? With his expectations. You know, never been in an NFL camp. So all you know is what your buddies tell you or what you hear, you know, and you go there with your toolbox, right? Your skill level that you developed over the years, you know, technique-wise. So you take your toolbox with you. You get there, you meet your position coach. Your position coach looks in your toolbox, and it's just like, well, you know what? I like the screwdriver, these pliers, and I like this ratchet set, but I don't like the hammer. Well, coach, you know, the hammer works. I don't like it. Get rid of your hammer. So now all of a sudden you're just like, okay, so what do I use instead of my hammer? So between that and just learning the culture of, a veteran team, you know, it's different going to a younger team or a team that's trying to find their way. But you go to a team like, you know, the Titans, some of the other teams that are just like winner. You go to Green Bay, you go to New England, like those are teams that are veterans, you know, and you're a young guy, you go into a veteran locker room and, you know, you're like, okay, well, I'm a 4th round draft choice. You know, I'm going to get a chance to show my stuff in camp. And then you get in camp and it's like, no, you're at the back of the line. Yeah. You got to earn every rep. And it's just like, well, how am I going to earn reps if I can't show my stuff? Well, there's other periods outside of catching footballs where you can earn your stripes. And I think that was one of the things that Dez had to get his arms around. You know, for a wide receiver, it's not always about catching balls, even though he was always a good blocker in college. You know, you go play for a team with number 22 on it, right? And you know who number 22 is.
Right.
You know, everybody but the quarterback better be blocking. Yeah. And you better be blocking 1,000% because that guy can, you know, break a long run. So, you know, during camp, he struggled a little bit with just finding his way and just figuring out the expectations of what it means to be a receiver on that team. And once he got to the practice squad, you know, he just kind of got his swag back, you know, going against the first team D and just really showing like, look, I can beat these guys. Right. You know, and okay, so this is how coach wants me to practice every day. Okay. Now I got my confidence back. Now it gets moved up to the 53-man roster and it's never been back down. So and based on the conversations I've had with him and the things that he tells me, he and the coach talk about, or the coach says to him, he's in a real good place. You know, he's just, I expect big things from him eventually. He's proven that he can go out there and make plays. And, you know, I told him, I said, and I tell Christian the same thing, you know, in our household, it's about the 3 Ps: patience, positivity, and perspective. If you live by those 3 things as an athlete, and the last one, you know, I always tell them the most important part, and that's the perspective. You know, when you're going through adversity, you have to keep things in perspective, understand what you can control, what you cannot control, and how to get out of whatever dark space you're in. You know, as a player, you got to get out of it eventually, because that's the type of stuff that proves to the coaches that you're tough enough mentally to play in this league. You know, and I think Dez has proven, you know, to his head coach that, you know, he's tough enough to get through the hazing, you know, or to get through, you know, get out of the coach's doghouse, right, and prove that he's tough enough, and not just physically tough enough, but emotionally and mentally tough enough to just handle the grind of being an NFL player. So, you know, I'm proud of him for doing that. And, you know, and sometimes it's like pulling teeth, talking to your own kids, you know, because it's like, you know, and I know my name, that sometimes they're just like, God, could you just be dad right now? I know. Like, yeah, but this you got to hear first. Yeah, I'll be dad in a minute, but right now you need to hear this because you do. You know, and it's worked out well, man. And you know, both of them, they have their own personalities. Christian listens a little quicker than Dez does. Yeah. Right? You know,
Smile, Christian. Say yes. Just smile and nod.
Yeah. Christian's a little easier when it comes to listening than Dez. Dez always gets it after the point. Yeah. You know, it's just kind of like he'll be a little stubborn. It's just like, Dez, I'm looking at our text message thread. Had you listened to me on July the 3rd, we wouldn't be in this position right now. Yeah. He's like, Dad, I know. So yeah, but they always find a way to get through it. You know what I mean? And Lomas, you've had a ton of teammates over the years. You've seen guys come in and out of training camp. I'm sure you've seen guys kind of put their head down, rookies during training camp, and can't figure out how to get out of their own way, and, you know, how to deal with, you know, just being a pro. Right. You know? Yeah. And for me, it's like teaching them how to handle the mental part of it. You know, you got to listen to your position coach. I'm not going to coach you on how to be a receiver anymore, but I am going to listen to the press conferences of your coaches so that I can, you know, just kind of relay things that I hear. So like, did you listen to his press conference today? Well, you should have, because here's what I heard in this press conference, and this is the type of stuff you need to know about your coach so that you can just kind of crack the code, right, of what he really wants, what they really expect, and what they want in that locker room. You can get a lot out of those press conferences during camp, you know, when listening to their coaches. And, you know, because they're in the middle of the grind and they listen to the coaches in the meetings, they very rarely listen to that stuff. Right. Yeah, but I make sure I listen to it so I can just give them little snippets of, you know, what I heard. Yeah, you know, smart. Who I think this guy is, and, you know, what you need to make sure that you pay attention to. Yeah, right? Cause I know, Christian, because sometimes, man, it becomes white noise. You don't try to tune the coaches out, but sometimes you just hear them so much that, you know, it's kind of human nature. You just kind of tune them out. So that's great, Greg, that you do that, because you're right. It's a lot of things that you can learn from those press conferences that, like you say, being around them that much, you'll miss it. It'll go right over your head sometimes because you're around it so much and stuff. So that's great that you're doing that. And tired after meetings and things like that. I just try to provide just the mental and emotional support to them, because I know, you know, I've been through it myself, you know, didn't get the chance to play for a long time, but I remember how it feels to be in camp and trying to figure it out, right? Wondering, you know, if you're a fringe player, wondering, you know, if you're going to get cut, what's going to happen next week? Oh, wow, they brought another guy in. Like, I wonder how that's going to affect the defensive back room, and they brought a defensive tackle in, right? And you just start thinking about stuff that you have no control over, right? So, trying to keep their heads straight has been my number one priority.
I think that speaks to just about anything, way beyond athletics.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Patience, positivity, and perspective. In fact, I'm going to call you. I'm going to call you. Okay. Dad, I need some help here.
Right. It's like, keep it in perspective.
Yeah.
Here's what may be going on around you that has nothing to do with you.
Right.
Yeah.
Not your fault. Right. Yeah, that word perspective is so huge in my household as of late, because it helps keep you grounded, right? If you can really because if you can control your thoughts, you can control a lot of outcomes. And, as an athlete, it's so tough to control your thoughts sometimes, it really is. And the guys who can do both, or the people who can do both, usually give themselves a better chance, right?
Yep.
Usually give themselves a better chance. So I'm trying to teach them how to control their thoughts, how to always remain positive. And Dez is a bit of a pessimist because he's been through so much adversity over the years. Yeah, so he's like, no, Dad, I don't think it's that. Well, Dez, why not choose the positive? Why not choose the positive outcome, or, decipher what he said as positive opposed to negative? Because if you think about this in a negative fashion, then it's going to affect you negatively. So don't be afraid to, have positive thoughts with the fear of being let down. That's one of the things that, Dez has done for years, and he's getting out of it now. But it's like, let me protect my feelings so I don't have this huge letdown, and it's like, and it's like, failures are going to happen. You're going to have failures. They're going to happen. You're going to have letdowns, but, you got to always be willing to keep a chip in the game. And as long as you got a chip in the game, you've got an opportunity, right?
Yeah.
So, Christian, what do you think about all this?
I definitely live by those 3 P's for sure. Because they're like, those have been implemented kind of recent. So like, it's just been a real focus, just on perspective for real for me, because like, you can always just think yourself to death, like for real, about anything. Like trying to just think about like what your coach is thinking or anything like that. Like at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Like you gotta control what you control for sure. And that'll help you get better sleep at night. Sure.
You can think yourself to death. I like that.
Yeah.
Be a goldfish. Be a goldfish. From
Yeah.
Ted Lasso.
Yeah.
There you go.
You can tell what I did over the holidays. I watched Ted Lasso. So, Christian, who's the favorite player that you look up to?
Actually, right now, like a guy who I'm just like, because when it comes to favorite players, like you can have a favorite player that like you just think is sweet, like a guy like Devontae Adams. I think he's the best like route runner technician in the league, but that's not my body type. So like, it's like a guy that I like to model my game after is like Mike Evans. So when I like want to watch film on an NFL receiver, I like to watch film on Mike Evans because he's the same body type. He's a tall receiver, big receiver. But like when I'm just chilling, just watching who I want to watch, definitely Devontae Adams, because he got the best routes in the league for sure right now.
Yeah, you're right about that, man. It's like magic watching him and Aaron Rodgers work together.
Oh, I know.
Man, just the chemistry, man.
But you know what? Your guy Matt Stafford and Cooper Kupp ain't too
Yeah,
bad right now.
yeah.
I'm liking that one too.
Yeah.
I should have.
Yeah, I like Cooper Kupp.
Yeah.
It's so funny. Those are the 2 players that I tell Dez to really emulate, because they got the same type. They got the same body type. Those guys are a little older, and Dez will fill out later. But I told him, I said, Devontae Adams and Cooper Kupp. I said, that's you. I said, that is you. That's your skill set. That's your body type. You're a little faster, but still, those are the guys.
Yeah.
Those are the guys.
Christian, what's the difference between, say, Devontae and it was another receiver I was just thinking about, man. Ooh, I'm getting old. God, I was just thinking about another receiver that was good. Jefferson from Minnesota. I mean, because right now they raving about how he's put his first 2 years together. He's broken records. So what's the difference? They seem like they almost kind of the same body type. Is it the route running between those two?
Yeah, I feel like it's just the type of flavor they put on their routes is really just like what type of chicken, like what you like your KFC or you want Chick-fil-A,
Okay.
Because Jefferson, he's more of like he gets out of his frame a lot. When he stick that foot out, that dead leg, that's what the kids like to see these days. And he came up in this era, so he gonna run his routes a little more with a little more flavor on it. And I feel like Devontae Adams, his is just all about suddenness and quickness. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you've been watching a little film.
Yeah. Because, I mean, those are the names that you hear, man. And now you got the young kid here with the Lions, Amar-Ra St. Brown. He's been making a lot of noise over the last, few games to be a rookie. So, yeah.
Opportunity.
You're right. That was, you're right. He got the opportunity. You're exactly right about that.
I think we've seen a lot of opportunity. Christian, I got to ask you this because this is my question for college players. What's your game day superstition? What do you do before a game? Because that was so much fun. Let me see. Oatmeal, bacon, and toast was when Lomas did. Greg, I'm sure you had one too. Every athlete's got a superstition, right?
Yeah, I used to put like 5 pieces of bubble yum in my mouth. It just used to chew and blow huge bubbles on my face mask in pregame. And I would spit it out right before we run out of the locker room.
Oh man.
I have a couple of those too. Well, actually when I was younger, like before I got to college, I used to have a pair of neon Nike like tights. But for some reason I thought like those was the key. Like I was sleeping them, and I would go to school in them the whole day. I'm wearing
man!
I'm in my pants though. I ain't wearing shorts with them, but you feel me? Like I don't know what was up with me in those. Like those was definitely my. College, I like to. It's this like apple cider vinegar. Like you.
It's
real strong. So these apple cider vinegar pills I like to take, and it kind of like wakes my senses up, like for sure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I might have to try that. Hey, I know.
That's the first I heard about that one.
Yeah, I might have to try that one to wake my senses up a little bit.
Right.
All natural, it's gonna do it for you for sure.
Okay.
How fun.
Yeah. Good question, Deb.
Thanks. I think that's my question for athletes because I love hearing all these different superstitions.
Yeah.
Everybody's just a little different.
Yeah.
The tights, that's great. I really, really like the tights.
I wish I could find them. I'll still be wearing them.
Your brother probably stole them. Yeah. And Dez actually wanted to do the show, and he told me, he said, I think I told you. Did I tell you guys? Yeah. He was afraid to ask.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We'll get them next time after they win the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
it'll all be good.
That'd be nice.
It'll all be good. Nice. And then Christian, I got dibs on you when you win the Super Bowl.
No doubt. When the college football national championship. That's
man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm thinking years ahead here, but I'll take the college
Yeah.
football national championship.
yeah. I'm a Florida Gator. The SEC been ruling things, so y'all
Yeah,
Big Ten,
man.
y'all got to get in there and y'all got to interrupt that a little bit, man. I'm glad to
Yeah.
see Georgia got Bama though, because Bama been killing the SEC,
Oh, I know.
man.
Actually, no, Tucker has those Georgia ties.
Yeah.
So hopefully,
yeah.
So hopefully he can get a few more of those 5, 4, and 5 stars from down south up to help us a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Y'all definitely. Well, yeah. I guess we got to wrap it up soon.
We do.
Yeah. So go ahead, Deb. I'll let you
I
wrap.
was just gonna you let
Put
me
a
wrap.
bow on it. I'll let you put a bow on it.
Tie it all up.
Yeah.
Well, I was just going to ask if anybody had any final thoughts on all this. We've got so much going on right now. Christian, I really appreciate you taking the time. Can't wait to see you on campus.
No
Greg,
doubt.
yeah, I'm getting you to a sports law class.
You're gonna put me in there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have fun. And Greg, thanks for all the advice. What
You're welcome.
Yeah, so important. And Lomas, as always, thank you so much.
Oh yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. It's been great, man. And yeah, just keep doing what you're doing, Christian, and good luck to Dez this year. I'll be out at the Super Bowl this year for a few days, so hopefully I'll see Dez out there.
Oh, you'll see me out there too.
Yeah, see the whole family out there. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, if they're there, I will be there.
Yes. Yeah. So,
will you be on Radio Row?
I'm gonna see. I'm going out for other reasons, but I'm gonna see if I'm gonna make it over to Radio Row. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's it. So I'm gonna enjoy myself out there for the couple of days and come on back. Bring it on back.
I hope we are there.
Yes,
I'm claiming it now.
That'd be great.
Just got to win 2. That's it.
Just got to win 2.
Just got to win 2. That's it. Not 3 or 4, just 2. Win 2, we're there.
And on that, thank you very much. Check us out on sportslaw.com. Check us out on Spotify. Check us out on Facebook. And we'll be back in a couple weeks.
Go green.
Go white.